Welcome to a special emergency Coffee with Dragan. This coffee is dedicated to world peace, specifically to what I believe it is still possible to do, namely for the re-establishment of cordial, mutually beneficial and friendly relations with China, between Canada and China and the United States of America and China and the Western world and China. Sino-Canadian, Sino-North American, Sino-Western relations with China. Now yours truly, h.a.dragan, writing as Dragon Zero of the Dragon Empire, understands there's lots of issues, lots of questions, and primarily I'm going to discuss a little bit of my opinion from what I learned, and I know nothing really, can only scratch the surface and can understand matters, and understanding and reaching a compromise perhaps is what is best in this specific situation. And with that, I'm going to rewind a little bit back in the past, 2019 in October, when your studio h.a.dragan, world peace advocate, was alarmed by what was going on in the world, what was transpiring in the world, namely the beginning of the trade war between US and China, started and by Donald Trump, of course, with his administration imposing tariffs of 10, 15, 20, 25% on more than 650 billion worth of Chinese goods. 650 billion worth of Chinese goods, imported goods to the USA. So let's say if only an average of 10% would have been, although the average was perhaps around 13.3 or even higher average tariffs, but let's say 10%, it would have been 65 billion. 1 billion is 1,000 million. So at the macro level, this was a mega trade war unseen before, such a macro scale economic trade war, since of course the trade liberalization began to speed up after 1984 and then faster after 89 and picked up after 2007 with China even more. The two pillars of the economy, 1984, let's say after the 90s, was established 2007, the great financial crisis, or in the past more than 13.3 years. China, as the world's greatest producer and exporter of goods, the world's factory, and the USA, the biggest importer and consumer and market for goods. So you got these two pillars of the economy: top importer, top exporter, top market, top producer, top market, top importer USA, top producer, top exporter China. These two pillars of the world economy, when they started the trade war about more than 2 years ago, imposing tariffs, destabilized the whole global financially commercial market system. In many ways, was of course retaliation by China. And I've said it again, my brothers and sisters, I'm an advocate of world peace. I'm also an independent scholar of history, student, so believe us to be realistic as can be. And of course, I'm going to be sharing my private sentiments with the public in this video, and as an analyst, independent analyst, researcher, and what I believe can reach a solution, a resolution of this impasse. I've faced many impasses in my personal life. I'm still facing now, living paradoxically the worst financial crisis, still waiting for that first dollar to be given via PayPal and commission a video, Coffee with Dragan, if you want on the topic. I'm open for business 24/7, and so we can do business. Paradoxical, providential, and parallel, getting in the fittest, most athletic condition, strongest, fittest athletic condition of my adult life, doing my workout, the officially known as the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the 300, of which I performed my 154th session just earlier. So back to this situation, of course, with China. Yesterday, Monday, there was an alliance, Canada, US, UK, and European Union, I believe, as a whole, although struggling to get a foreign policy get together. The foreign policy to impose sanctions on Chinese officials due to the Uyghur situation. That is, of course, a big development. China retaliated, immediately said. And my brothers and sisters, I think that many people do not fully understand China. China not as a one-party communist state, and the paradox, if you will, that China maintained Karl Marx's based fundamental theories of Marxism and socialism into its one-party state and develop it, and was able to survive after 1989 when many of the communist socialist entities and experiments collapsed. And not only to survive, but to actually strive to arrive at a global financial, commercial powerhouse and military powerhouse on the world scene after 1989, and furthermore after the dissolution of the USSR, the United Socialist Soviet Republics. Now, we shouldn't look at China as only a one-party communist state, however. We should also open our minds to a broader spectrum, as China is a continuous, more than 3,000-year-old civilization. If you check my past lectures, you know that I'm a student scholar of Jewish civilization, ancient Roman civilization, and Western civilization as a whole, but also, of course, I've learned a little bit about China, the dynasties, and I'm learning. Actually, it's a hard, tough situation for 2021. My New Year's resolution was to learn Chinese for world peace. Now, of course, at heart, yours truly, h.a.dragan, is a utopian dreamer, and have been since in 1996 when I've 96, 97 when I've wrote a treatise on world federation and expecting the world to be at peace by the time I reach my 30s. Unfortunately, it's quite the contrary to what has transpired. So with this China situation, we're a step closer to World War III. Now, back to the train of thought of China, to look at China as a continuous civilization, 3,000 years old. And my brothers and sisters, of all Westerns here in Canada, United States of America, and I was incarnated in previous lives. I'm a universal spiritual teaching student as well, was incarnated in different empires and nations of the world in past lives. Speaking to as an American as well, since was in past life twice an American. So my brothers in the USA put their minds a little bit to see China not only as a one-party commie state. And on record, I'm not a communist, I'm not a fascist, I'm yours truly, h.a.dragan, rebirthing as priestess. The dancing goddess that dances with her brother the sun to make, create, and produce all fruits and vegetables and legumes. Using these fruits and this coffee, which I'm about to ingest for world peace. And the founder of the Dragon Empire. If you can't see, it's not that visible. The quality of the camera, it's a red dragon. The face of a red dragon there. That's the red dragon. That's the flag of the Dragon Empire, which I founded for world peace, in which I'm calling all willingly loving to support the mission, vision, and philosophy by a public-private partnership to secure the three. Again, born in a paradox. And the paradox was, of course, that when I've started the new workout training program, I've said Trump is taking the world to war with China. This is madness. This is World War III. And I said, and I will say it again, that Granddaddy Trump had this idea of China, a Hollywoodish type of 1960s, 1970s, 1980s China. And China is not the 60s, 70s, and 80s China. Just I'm not h.a.dragan. When I was born, dragon, as the motto of the Dragon Empire goes, nobody is born a dragon. You become one through blood, sweat, and tears, and doing the 300 workout. So it takes blood, sweat, and tears, and workout training, push-ups, squats, hawks, to change my D-R-A-G-A-N, that A into an O, to become Dragon Zero of the Dragon Empire. But China, Donald Trump looked at China as, from my belief, my knowledge, that he thought of China from the propaganda of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, right? That type of China, which is far from the truth. We shouldn't underestimate China. We shouldn't be a bash. Because my brothers and sisters, yes, there is human rights abuses. There is problems here in our own backyards. Yours truly, we have to look at ourselves to our own. Look. Before I start kicking this revolution for world peace, still gotta clean my room. I gotta make sure when I go in public, gotta clean my own hands, because I've seen a lot of people go in the stores, get myself a cup of coffee from XYZ fast foods, see people what they're delivering. I've lost confidence. We need to drag an army on the streets, in the public, to make sure people, when they go grocery shopping, they wash their hands. Because I see people going at the McDonald's, other fast food joints, and I go get a cup of coffee. I don't need much fast food. I go get a cup of coffee, see them doing the little deliveries with the app. They go in, not all, not ALL, but a lot. They go in, they don't wash their hands. They go out, they don't wash their hands. I'm giving people the benefit of the doubt, because I do give people the benefit of the doubt, and everybody deserves second, third, even fourth chances. I had my own share of chances given to me. Anyways, we shouldn't look at China, underestimate China, and see China as this one-party commie state only, but it's a continuous civilization that's been a continuous civilization for more than 3,000 years. Sure, there's problems in trade economics, but imposing tariffs on more than 650 billion worth of goods, I believe, was a big mistake. Could have looked at other fundamentals and internals, maybe going a little bit of case by case. It's not that I defend China, but I try to understand China from a less superficial, more deep perspective, as not just a one-party commie state, and in the paradox that it has survived the Communist People's Republic of China, the Communist Party of China, which was led by Mao Zedong, to victory over the nationalists. And that's in the Second World War. We have to go back with our paradox, and now we're going to go back to 2019. 2019, when yours truly, world peace advocate, always alarmed what was going on in the world, Trump initiating the trade war, said it's path to World War III. I've actually devised a scenario, World War III scenario, that includes a surprise attack by China and North Korea on the North American West Coast. Now, I base this because I said if I would be Xi Jinping, the leader of China, I would have taken what Trump did as an act of financial, commercial, and economic war, imposing tariffs on more than 650 billion worth of goods. I want to see what 1 billion has 9 zeros. 1 billion is 1,000 million. So 650 billion is 650,000 million, right? 650 billion. 1 billion is 1,000 million, so that's 650,000 billion. And 10%, 15, 20%, whatever it was, the percentage, that was the tariffs imposed, right? That was the tariff that was imposed. XYZ. Whatever the amount was on each respective. Average, let's say about 15. That's tremendous. I would have been the leader of China, Xi Jinping, my brothers and sisters. I would have taken that as an active economic, social, and financial, commercial, and trade war, right? And it is an ongoing trade war. Now, my fictitious scenario was because I was alarmed at what was going on. But in that scenario, of course, I've created solutions And the training workout called officially General War Integrated Total Body Training System, those 7 wars, General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the 300 workout, was created to go hand in hand with that scenario where a stock market crash called Black Halloween in the scenario triggers a global financial collapse November 6th and 17th of November in that timeline of the scenario. A surprise attack by China, North Korea, and Canada, US, and Mexico, because of course China blamed the financial market collapse and the global financial collapse on the US the trade war that Trump administration began, imposing tariffs on more than 650 billion worth of goods. Now that's a percentage of the total import export trillions worldwide of goods, right? So based on that, yours truly, world peace advocate, I've developed the World War III scenario, and that is the paradoxical birth of the Dragon Emperor, which I am becoming Dragon Zero, the founder thereof. And since in the scenario, the offer of the solutions was to mobilize a minimum of 1% of adult population from Canada, US, Mexico, the Americas, West, North, South, Central. We got 2 oceans, 1 borders, the Pan-Americanist, the internationalist, global, universal, revolutionary centrist. And since in that scenario I was envisioning the rebuilding of a peaceful world, creating a new institution called the International Citizen Integrated Social Security Force, International Citizen Integrated Social Security Force, aka the Dragon Army, to secure 3 elements of civilization by a public-private partnership: food, housing, and transport for all, of which, by the paradox and the providential parallel in an eerie way, that after my workout with the scenario began in October 27, 2019, I think October 17th, 2019 was the first session that I performed of the 300, and now I'm 154 down, 146 to go. 300 General War Integrated Total Body Training Systems. But nonetheless, that was the scenario, World War III scenario, and of course envisioning mobilizing willingly loving citizens, as I'm calling it. 93 days later, COVID, health and financial crisis hit, resembling my scenario, kind of World War III or World War against COVID. And I've said, oh my goodness. And then, of course, the financial market, stock market crash began February 20th and ended about April 7th, and that triggered recessions and depressions worldwide, globally. And I said, since COVID resembles health and financial crisis of COVID resembles my scenario, I was offering the solutions in my scenario. I'm advocating, and I've established, founded the Dragon, the Dancing Goddess Empire for World Peace. The Dragon to create the Dragon Army, the National Citizen Integrated Social Security Force to secure the 3 elements of civilization by a public-private partnership, of which I'm calling on all willingly loving to support the mission, vision, and philosophy, and of course that paradox. Now back to paradox of the founding, that is of the Dragon Empire, in a paradoxical way. Since in my scenario I've envisioned the solutions, so I'm calling for, I believe we can mobilize 1% of citizenry, and of course we can secure food, housing, and transport. Now, this is an emergency coffee with China. Again, now that I defend China, it has human rights violations. To call it a genocide, I know what the people understand by genocide. Yours truly, when I check on the Holocaust victims and survivors, I check one of my surnames in my family line, part Ashkenazi Jewish. I check my surname, Nui. There's a few thousand who bear that surname. So that was a genocide. The Jewish people, of which I am part of course, got the Star David tattooed. Not gonna go into that, divert, because that'll be a whole cup of coffee. But that is genocide. Now, the human rights violation, what is happening there in the Uyghur province of China? How much do we know? Show me some intelligence, some credentials, aerial photos, testimonials. Sure. Can we discern what's going on? Human rights violations, I'm sure there is. Abuses, I'm sure there is. Genocide. Genocide to me, unless we change the definition, genocide to me implies the mass murder, mass extermination of a population. Are they being mass murdered, mass exterminated, mass executed? I don't know. I don't know. I was never. I don't know. In this life, I was never in China. Were you ever? Did you ever visit? Where? Where did you go? How long did you stay? Did you learn Chinese? Did you learn Chinese history? What did you do? Did you make love to a Chinese man or woman? Hopefully, so I'll go somewhere I like to make some love. Love for world peace. 24/7 open for business. Anyways, it's serious. This is a serious emergency. I'm hoping for reconciliation. But China, of course, retaliated. Now, of course, we have to go back again in time, 2019. Not only my scenario of the world, the arrest of Meng Wanzhou, the chief financial officer of Huawei, in order to honor an extradition treaty with the United States of America by the RCMP. RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Federal Police of Canada, to honor an extradition treaty with the USA. We arrested Meng Wanzhou, the chief financial officer and daughter of the founder of Huawei Telecommunications Company Corporations. Not a corporation in the sense that we would understand it. It seems that they have a different, with Huawei at least, there's a different employees on most of the shares, and there's a more cooperative than corporation in a minority owning the stock shares of the, as we have most in the world. Because who owns the stocks, owns most, is not a big proportion of the population in Canada. In the US, it's a small minority who own the means of production, that's for sure. So nonetheless, the daughter of the founder, Meng Wanzhou, also known as Kathy Meng, was arrested by the RCMP to honor an extradition treaty with the USA. Fair enough. They requested, we honored that treaty, and I'm speaking we also as a North American, as who believes in the unity of across the Americas, the mission, vision, and philosophy of the Dragon Empire and the Dragon Army here locally, nationally, internationally, with NATO, calling Israel to be the 31st NATO member ASAP. And for us to establish this world peace by securing food, housing, and transport for all, and then we can people volunteer, exercise, train, work out. Now, on the China situation, of course, Meng Wanzhou was arrested by the RCMP to honor an extradition treaty on charges that there was contravening. There was some dealings with Iran, country regime of Iran, contravening, going against the sanctions imposed by the United States of America on the Iranian regime, right, to not develop weapons. And another topic, another cup of coffee. I'm not going to get into that politicking of Iran right now, but this is what the charges were against Meng Wanzhou as the chief financial officer of Huawei, to extradite her because of breaching some sanctions against Iran. That was the beginning.
Dude, you want some tea?
I'm drinking coffee now, but would love some tea afterwards, yeah?
Okay, here you go. Tea bags.
Tea bags, yes. My first and only financial sponsor at the moment, anonymous friend and oftentimes teacher, the one I love and call sister. Give me some tea. Give me 1 second to get that tea. That I can drink while taking a bath, right?
No.
I love you, baby, bro. Thanks.
So they have to be drank soon because I had the big box out of and I had a big box of tea.
Yeah.
And I just went to look it up online.
Yeah.
You can drink them 6 months to a year after the expiry date.
6 months to a year, huh? After the expiry date, not the best before date.
Well, past the best before.
So what is this?
The best before here is July 2020. So you have to.
They have to be drank, yeah.
Before July.
Before July. Makes sense.
Yeah, so I gave you half and I have the other half and that's all I'm going to have.
It's organic.
And not in the bathtub.
What country is this tea from? Betty, did you check the country? Anyways, got myself some tea. The country of origin of the tea. It could be India, Thailand,
These are the ones that I used to get at
Sri Lanka.
when I used to go to Windows. Product of China,
Product of China,
but organic.
but organic.
Please return to Mother Earth.
Oh, I love that.
Please.
Mother Earth indeed.
Well, China does have tea.
Well, and they have been producing tea for more than 3,000 years, mind you. Anyway, so this tea gifted to me is my primary financial sponsor.
The address is on Oxford. It will take you about 25 minutes to get there. You go by the Maisonneuve.
What do I have a time frame?
4 o'clock. Exactly.
4 sharp.
Yes.
Oxford?
Oxford, I will send you the address. 100%. If you go by the Maisonneuve.
Yeah, but you know I'm gonna go on a long march, so.
It doesn't matter, but please go there for 4.
So it doesn't matter when I bring it back.
No, it doesn't matter.
I mean, by curfew, yeah, but.
Yeah, no, of course it doesn't matter, but I want you to pick it up at 4.
Okay.
So I'll send you the text to the address.
Okay.
Hopefully she'll leave it on the porch.
Okay, can you not disturb me anymore for until 3 now?
No problem.
Cool. Right. So this tea from China was made and created and produced by the dance of the goddess with a brother's son, of which I'm gonna bring the flag right now. Flag of the dancing goddess and the dragon empire were both one and the same empire. And this tea harvested by hands of my brothers and sisters from China, my Chinese brothers and sisters, that I'm calling all mankind, Chinese, African, Jewish, American, to join me for world peace and join the mission, vision, and philosophy as allies. The dancing goddess and the dragon empire. To create the dancing army league. To dance for the mass cleaning of the oceans, rivers, lakes. To raise funds, tax the banks. Finance world peace. And create the International Integrated Social Security Force, aka the Dragon Army, to secure the 3 elements of civilization: food, housing, and transport for all. And this tea leaves was made, created, and produced by the dance of the goddess, gotten with a brother the sun. And all ALL fruits, vegetables, legumes are made, produced, and created by that dance, and our brothers and sisters, farmers who deserve our love and us to wash their hands and feet. Actually, I'm ordering Dragon Zero, founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire. I'm ordering all ALL leaders of the free world, from the prime ministers to the officers to the bureaucrats in the Parliament of Canada, the US, to go right now and kiss the farmers' hands and give them a good wash of the hands and feet. And I'll come and assist you and help you do some soap and clean their hands. That's an order of Dragon Zero, Priestess Hannah, Androgynous, yours to lead, and h.a.dragan. A-D-R-A-N, H-A-N, and H-D-R-A-G-A-N. Adrian, Hannah, Dragon. Yours to lead, and h.a.dragan, rebirthing as the priestess, the dancing goddess, the dragon empire. Dancing goddess and the dragon empire one by the Phoenix People's Party, the anti-war, anti-poverty, anti-racism, pro-love, universal revolutionary centrist party, of which I'm the founder thereof. I'm gonna be drinking this tea in the coming. I'm gonna drink one a day. I might do a meditative video to learn Chinese for world peace in the hope of reconciliation and in the hope of understanding, and that is key words. I've struggled many years to understand my own nature. And sometimes I laugh in my own head. I said, man, I could work 9 to 5 just washing, kissing, and hugging my brothers and sisters in armies. 9 to 5. Washing feet, washing heads, washing hands, just washing, 9 to 5. I had never seen a job like that. Posted 9 to 5. Adrian h.a.dragan, what do you do? Worker. World hygiene and health. People's doctor. Washing the hands, the feet, the body, whatever one wants to get washed, cleaned, wash by hand. 9 to 5. Bro. 37-minute break. You see me, let me know if there's a job opening for that. Anyways, these bags I will be drinking for the sake of world peace, and I will be doing meditative and learning and dancing goddess in the coming days and weeks, so that we reconcile together, humanity, humankind, mankind. Remember, this tea was made, created, and produced as all ALL fruits, vegetables, and legumes by the dance of the goddess with the blood of the sun. And what you can see here, there's a mystic, spiritual, and political reality. You see the woman rise as a ballerina. And what you notice is that her proportion is equal to the sun, right? So there's a mutual dance. It's like you could say she's the Mother Earth or the moon. And there's a harmony, a balance, and equilibrium. Just as I'm standing for the equilibrium of the private and the public, and sharing more, and securing food, housing, and transport for all, so then people could be encouraged to volunteer and do and exercise and do. What we can see here is, of course, not just the spiritual that the Western world needs, the spiritualization, the spiritual understanding of the divine feminine, the goddess, straight up, but that there's that balance, the harmony, right? She's also made fertile, pure, that is by the sun, but he also has a purpose for her. It's like they're siblings, and she takes her place in equal strength with the sun. See, she's not below, she's not diminished, she's taking her place in the sun of your world, equal. So with these, however they are, I'm going to count them. Gifted from my friend, who's oftentimes a teacher, the one I love and call sister. And to that Trinity, she's my first and only, at the moment, financial sponsor. Still looking for somebody to commission my first Coffee with Dragan video. Do so, please, by willingly loving, and if you donate finances, may you be rewarded threefold for me to do a video, a dance, a workout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. For me to do 20 sessions, meditating, learning Chinese, dancing on this tea from China, organic tea from China. So we're gonna mark it up. Hopefully by the time I drink this teas, let's say in 37 days from now, I will be able to count up to 20 in Chinese, and I'm learning. I know a few words, how to say this and that, how to say how to eat, how to say how to drink, to speak English, to speak Chinese. Han Yin Yu. Now I want to play a clip from the news. It's in the news. Well, this escalates tensions. Again, we're going to listen to it one more time. So this was on the news, in the news on from Reuters. My brothers and sisters, before I play this again, when we started doing, and I say we as Canadians, North Americans, Westerns, when we started doing business with China, late in the 80s and then in the 90s and then speed it up, the Chinese have always said, we're open for business, but stay out of our internal affairs. They were always open about that. Always. They were open for business, but you stay out of our internal domestic affairs. And this is a country with 1.4 billion people. That's more than the continent of Africa. That's more than the Americas. And that's more, almost 3 times the continent of Europe. 1 out of 5 people in the planet Earth live in China. Since day one, in the 90s, when we started doing more business with China, when they became, it and opened up their economy to the world, we were happy to get all the goods for cheap labor. We were happy for 30 years to feed the need for consumerism and consumption in a paradoxical way by a one-party communist state. But they were open with us from day one. They said, we're going to do business with you. We're going to trade with you. We're going to do commerce with you. But how you don't meddle in our politics, in our China, in our People's Republic of China. We agreed. We agreed. Not me. Bill Clinton and other ones and blah, blah, blah. The leaders of the free world who, what did they do during COVID? Where were they? Were they trying to knock on people's doors to see if they got food, if they got hygiene? If I would have been the military, I would have declared martial law, make sure all my brothers and sisters, they would have got food. What did they do? They show on TV, the leaders of the free world, drop down, give Dragan 13 push-ups with love and for world peace. And my brothers and sisters, China warned us. And they let us from day one. We're gonna do business. But don't come at us with your values, your etc. etc. This is the People's Republic of China. We're 1.4 billion people. We're a civilization more than 3,000 years old. That you do not fully understand, my brothers and sisters. That I do not fully understand. And who you want to send to war? It's gonna be millennials like me, who's financial poverty, who's ready to go rob on the streets because you can't give them food, housing, and transport. And you pay athletes millions of dollars. And you got rappers rapping about drugs and getting millions of dollars with their chains. They don't want that in China. They want their Chinese harmony. They want their harmonious civilization and harmonious society. They want to feed their people. They want to feed their 1.4 billion people. And y'all leaders of the free world who never fought a war in your life, who's gonna fight your wars? I'm gonna fight my wars for world peace. You gonna fight your wars? Shit. Running back to your mamas. The leaders of the free world. They warned us. 80s and 90s. The Chinese always said, not all the Chinese, there's 1.4 billion people. But the leaders of the Chinese Communist Party, they said, we're going to trade, we're going to exchange commerce, but you will stay out of our internal domestic affairs. We'll stay out. Shit. Adrian h.a.dragan, small room office in Temple here. I share part of my life, private life with you. I need to do some cleaning in my own room here. My hands are not fully clean, all clean, clean, clean. Gotta put my order on here. From what I know, I don't owe no Chinese person nothing. And you know, I, yours truly, Adrian h.a.dragan, founder of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Empire, you free leaders of the free world, I owe you nothing. General of the armies of the West, refuse all orders given to you by any leader of the free world, Adrian h.a.dragan. Don't you fucking follow no orders from these people. We're gonna give orders from Justin Trudeau, raised with a silver spoon. We're gonna follow his orders. Canadian Army, huh? And Trudeau needs to drop down, give me some push-ups. That's what Trudeau needs to do. We do not fully understand China. We do not fully understand our own natures. Western people. We fought 2 world wars, 1 world war, 2nd World War. I check one of my surnames in my family line. There's thousands of my surname getting on the Holocaust survivors and victims. She no German, give me no dollar, no Deutsche Mark, man. And none. What's happening in Xinjiang? There might be abuses. The Chinese say it's a camp for re-education, for fighting extremism. Haven't we be the 9/11? Fighting terrorists all over the world. And as somebody wrote to me back in a comment last year, which I'll remember, said, China is not the country who invaded 7 countries in the past 10 years, friend. referring to the wars in the Middle East, Iraq, Syria, Iran, Libya, those places. Is it true? From what I know, China, in fact, did not invade any country for decades. Right? But my message should be clear that China is the entity, not China, a whole people, civilization, but the rulers, the powers that be of the Chinese Communist Party. They opened up to do business with it, but they said, since the 80s, late 80s, 90s, they said their message was constant. We're going to trade, we're going to commerce, we're going to exchange. We're going to be your world's factory. You're going to have goods, 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 goods for your people, cheap, cheap, cheap goods. But stay out of our People's Republic of China. Don't meddle in our culture, politics, our history. Don't meddle in that. Don't bring human rights and whatever. Stuff like that. Right? And they let sports, NBA, all the NBA millionaires, they went, they made money, good money there. They were happy, no? Right? They said it. We're gonna do business, but that's it. Right? If you're truly an h.a.dragan right here in this room office and temple, I close my blinds, turn everything off private, and after midnight, I dance naked and start doing all sorts of art that would seem irrational or whatever behavior, and I do it to me, or I start doing gymnastics and whatever, do all sorts of things, XYZ, that might be disgusting, that might be inappropriate, that might be XYZ with somebody. I exercise my freedom in that way, let's say. Not that I do it, give you ideas. Maybe for experimental purposes in art. I could do some stuff like that. Freedom's not easy. It's a sword that's double-edged, right? But then we have financial inequalities and right here, right? Right? Remember during the great financial crises, it was the only time when I've invested, I had investments, invested regularly on a 2 week basis. I was looking for the future. So that the great financial the great financial crisis. My work hours got cut 3 times. Went from working overtime more than 40 hours to 35, from 35 to 30, from 30 to 25 average during a year. Millions of people got hurt. We got problems right here with economic inequality and creating jobs. We have billionaires. But where's that billions when it's not invested? Youth workout, train, exercise. That's what the Dragon Empire stands for. And back to China. I'm gonna listen one more time to the Reuters news report. Coordinated Western action against the Tough, tough situation. That's wow. It's a really, really escalating situation. That is for sure. Tough situation. What's happening in Xinjiang, Uyghur province of China? I don't know for sure. I never been to China in this life. What are the claims? Sure, there might be abuses, there might be all sorts of situations. Some experts in the West, intelligence officers, etc., so claim this a detention center, genocide. Genocide, I'm gonna say, is a strong word. Don't know if anybody who's gonna listen to this has any surname in his family name, but I got one that when you type in the Holocaust survivors and victims, you get thousands of them. And so that was a genocide. This is the genocide. Genocide to me implies mass murdering of population based on ethnic, cultural, religious. What's happening in China? With the Uyghurs? We claim abuse, genocide, human rights abuses. The Chinese claim their vocational institutions, vocational, that's what they claim for re education and to combat extremism. That's their claim. Combat extremism. Thank you. Merci. Two very different claims. You need help transportation? That's the claim. Very different claims here. Listen to one more again. Hmm. Tough. West sanctions China in the news. West. At least that's how Reuters phrased it. West. Because Canada, US, UK, Europe. Okay, we did it. Leaders of the free world. Yes. Paradox goes to the US China trade war. Paradoxical birth of the US truly Adrian H.a.dragan as the Dragon Zero, founder of the Dragon Empire. Where in my scenario, was a world peace advocate, I still am, was envisioning a scenario, World War III scenario based on the US-China trade war, the arrest of Meng Wanzhou, and such historical events of the Pearl Harbor crisis event, the surprise attack by the Imperial Army of Japan. So I developed the World War III scenario based on what had transpired in October 2019. The scenario was a Black Halloween on the timeline of the scenario. Black Halloween stock market crash, followed by a global financial collapse November 6th, and 11 days later a surprise attack by North Korea on China, on Canada, US, and Mexico. Paradoxically, since in my scenario I've advocated, of course, and I was envisioning the creation of mobilizing citizenry, local, national, international, willingly loving citizenry and adult population citizenry from Canada, US, Mexico, throughout the Americas, Northwest, Central, South, all the way from Mexico to Guatemala, Honduras, Costa Rica, Panama, Honduras, El Salvador, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Brazil, Uruguay, Paraguay, to NATO allies and NATO with Israel and Africa. That's the West for me. From Israel to Middle East, the Americas, North, South, East, North, that is North, Central, South, Europe, North, Middle East, Africa, from Israel, West. So I'm calling for to join the first Canada, US, Mexico, the Americas, NATO, Europe, Israel, and Africa, brothers and sisters, the Dragon Empire for world peace. Paradoxical providential parallel way. This is my scenario. Started with a workout called the General War Integrated All Body Training System, aka the 300, started October 2019. I am calling for the creation in real life was the institution International Citizen Integrated Social Security Force, aka the Dragon Army, to secure the three elements of civilization: food, housing, and transport for all, by a public-private partnership, in order to create by what I call debt refusion via the Phoenix People's Party, the anti-war, anti-poverty, anti-racism, universal revolutionary centrist, as I'm a universal revolutionary centrist, universal that are global, international for the World Federation, and universal in that way, and revolutionary centrist in that it will concord to the securing food, housing, and transport for all by a public-private partnership, a global central bank that I'm calling from debt refusion from all ALL, private and public debt. My private debt is $10,000. Yours is XYZ. Public is local, national, municipal, country of Canada, US, Israel, Germany, etc., 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 to refuse it and create a global central bank. A global currency by biometrics, the hand, the eye, and the voice are unique biometrics identifiers for all, which I believe we can do that through debt refusion, whilst after securing by a public-private partnership of all corporations, public and private institutions that deal in security, police forces and armed forces, to secure food, housing, and transport for all. Once we have secured those three, we'll be ready for the next COVID crisis. Next, ready to address and encourage people to volunteer, work out, exercise, take care of their bodies, go help with COVID emergencies, and ensure people follow the COVID protocols, and we'll be ready for the next pandemic. Now, on China, final thoughts. We'll see how this will unfold, tit for tat, but what has transpired is, of course, an escalation of the situation. We will be seeing what is going on, what will be going on. Of course, my statement is that Many, not all, do not fully understand China. This is the key word: understanding China, not just the one party communist state Mao Zedong founded in 49. It's the People's Republic of China, from the Taiwan, which is the Republic of China, People's Republic of China. Taiwan is officially known as the Republic of China, of course, and it's another controversial matter and issue, and is historical rooted in the Second World War and the war between the nationalists and the communists, of course. I'm not a nationalist, I'm a globalist, universal, although that word is being tainted a bit. Globalism with conspiracy theories, of which I'm not, paradoxically in a providential parallel way. My scenario eerily resembles the COVID-19 health and financial crises, but not just the financial and the crises, but also offers solutions. Now, I don't know what caused COVID. Second, I believe it was snakes to human beings. Third, since I don't know for sure, and my belief is no 100% confirmed, I can leave room for speculation and other possibilities such as an accident, an experiment gone wrong, or even a deliberate biological weapon. What I do know is that in October 2019, yours truly, h.a.dragan, world peace advocate and independent security analyst, have concocted a new workout training program to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario, which resembles COVID, and since I've offered solutions therein in that scenario, and I'm calling for that creation in real life from all willingly loving citizens to support the mission, vision, and philosophy of the dancing goddess and the dragon empire. The red dragon flag and the emblem flag of the dancing goddess to create the two institutions: International Integrated Dance League, integrating that will be an all gender, all ages, all sexual orientations inclusive, and we have a purpose for the environment to dance for the mass cleaning of the oceans, the rivers, waterways, lakes, to mass clean the lakes, the waterways, the pollution, mass clean that by dancing and for recreation and rejuvenation, and the creation of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security Force, aka the Dragon Army, in order to secure the three elements of civilization for all: food, housing, and transport. Once we have secured those three elements, we can be ready for the next crisis, COVID, and of course we can be ready for the eventuality, and encourage people to work out, train, exercise, and do, and encourage them to love, dance, the dancing goddess and the dragon empire, one empire, by the Phoenix People's Party, the anti-war, anti-poverty, anti-race, and pro-love universal revolutionary centrist party. Dancing is encouraged in public. Dancing and workout in the public is encouraged and hopefully socially rewarded. I always say sometimes I'm just a simple artist, independent athlete, independent activist. You got lotion, I'll massage. You got food, I'll cook. You got wine, I'll serve. You got bring music, I'll dance. Serious matter, serious emergency, coffee, still have hope. There's hope for world peace. We gotta understand, for example, understanding our own natures. For example, my struggle for more than 13.3 years with my homosexuality and bisexuality, right? Was suicidal, depressed, erotic, was repressing it. So just my struggle as a LGBTQ in China, too, there's an LGBTQ community of which I extend the hand of peace towards worldwide for my rainbow nation, but understanding, of course, part of our Western nature is also to love, the love urge, which is warping us into a semi-homicidal, semi-suicidal, semi-homicidal, suicidal natures, to understanding it and channel, not repress, because repression will mean disease, but understand it and channeling it towards constructive pursuits, such as me working out, training, exercising, getting paradoxically in the fittest, strongest, most athletic condition of my adult life. 36, I would joke that I still hope, because I've watched The Terminator and I said Arnold Schwarzenegger looks like he was 22 or 25, and I checked in 84 when he was filming it, he was 36 already, my age, since I was born in 1984 when Terminator was released. And I said maybe I got 3 months from March, April, May, June to get in same fitness as he was when he walked there on the scene, LA scene. Love you.